here on your KALX Berkeley, and I'm here with
Machine Girl
in SF. And yeah, so this is your second day. What's SF like for you coming from the West Coast or East Coast?
It's cool. I wish we had more time to hang out here. It's still very short. 2 days is not really enough time when you're playing shows and stuff. So.
Yeah. How are you feeling about night 2?
Good. I'm in full recovery mode today, so just napping and chilling, really not trying to do anything. You can hear my voice is a little shot. So after this interview, gonna try to not talk so much till the show.
Yeah, you gotta save it all for the show.
Exactly.
Okay, we're gonna get into it. MG Ultra. To me, it sounds like a lot of your older Machine Girl stuff. I was wondering what that creative process was like in comparison.
Yeah, it was intentional to try to go back to some of the older sounds. And for me, the goal was a little bit to make a record that was I had a little bit of everything so far. So, the Ultra title was a double entendre of obviously the MK Ultra reference, but also sort of this ultimate sort of version of Machine Girl so far. So yeah, it was the process of producing the songs in terms of the sounds wasn't drastically different than anything previously. The biggest thing was the recording of the drums, which we did professionally for the first time, and some of the writing of the songs was done more organically with Sean and I sort of jamming on things. Yeah, it was a challenge to try to take the prettier. It's always a challenge to take the prettier, more ravey video game side of Machine Girl and make it harder, the sort of punk side. So that's always the struggle with this project. Is there's two sides of it that are puzzle pieces that don't necessarily easily interlock.
You sample a lot of shit in your songs. Do you have a favorite sample or one sample that's ooh, I found a good one and you're really excited to use?
Samples, really good ones. Well, early on, that was sort of the catalyst for the whole Wolf Girl album. And to some degree, the name of the band, the name of the project, Machine Girl, from the movie. When I first saw it, I watched it with the terrible English dub. And I think that those English dubs are some of the best stuff to sample since the the acting is really bad and the translations are bad and that's the coolest stuff, best stuff to sample in my opinion. It's recontextualizing and taking something that's inherently kind of poorly acted or whatever and giving it this new life.
Nice. And do you have just in general, most favorite track you've ever made?
I would say there's a lot of stuff, and for diehard Machine Girl fans, maybe they already are aware because I've said this before, but The Ugly Art for me is an album that there's songs I would love to revisit and reproduce and re-record because the ideas were there, but they weren't executed at the level that I wanted them to be. And best, currently, one of my proudest tracks that I feel is close to an ultimate Machine Girl song in a weird way is Ask to Mars on the new album. Is one that I think is a really cool abstract, and I would say one of the goals of what I make with Machine Girl is to defy genre and make it something singular, and to me that one is very close to that. It just doesn't really fit into anything. It's too weird to be a club track. It's too clubby to be straightforward, rock-ish punk song. it just sort of is like all over the place in a way that I think is really cool. Yeah, and it's up to interpretation, you know.
Yeah, and you know, I feel like I wouldn't say chaos is part of your aesthetic, but it certainly is in a sense. It's there. And I wanted to ask you, like, with like COVID changed everything. I know for you, like, you got so much more exposure from TikTok, but simultaneously there's this death of concert etiquette, like people just being assholes and not knowing how to, you know, be in the pit. And you know, I'm sure you've heard the smelly allegations. What are your thoughts on all of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's totally, I think, a combination of the year that, like, you know, for a lot of young people that would have been a important time for them to go to shows, and like every generation before them, like, naturally learn how to behave at a concert. Like, instead, there was like this whole generation of probably, I don't know, 17 to 19-year-olds that kind of had that taken away from them. And then I think that combined with social media created this environment or this sort of like atmosphere of like very people wanting to have their 15 seconds of fame or whatever on, like, you know.
So what do you have to say to those people?
Stop. Like, I think one thing I love at Machine Girl shows is I love that the costumes, especially when they're not, like, when you tell someone put a lot of effort in, and like the makeup and all that stuff for me is awesome, and it's a beautiful thing, and like it really warms my heart to see fans dressed up as like all different Machine Girl semi-related characters and whatnot.
And generally, how has it been to play with Lightning Bolt? I know you've mentioned that they were a really big inspiration to you in the beginning, so how is that like full circle moment?
It's crazy. I mean, it's extremely surreal. You know, it's like a thing that I really never... It was a dream when I was a kid, when I was like into them, you know, as a teenager, to one day open for them. Yeah. And I never thought that we'd reach a point where it would be kind of the opposite, you know? And it's great. I mean, they are both like extremely sweet, humble, down-to-earth people, and I think the shows like have a really amazing energy with them on. Like, and one of the things that I love about having them with us, like play with us, is that it's awesome getting to expose a bunch of young kids to Lightning Bolt and noise music and stuff. You know, I love having the opportunity to be a gateway band. Yeah.
So like, how has that been? Like, you played mostly DIY small venues before. How is it now? Like, playing like the Regency and then all these other like big quote unquote venues.
It's crazy. It's really crazy. I mean, it's it happened. It didn't happen so fast, so like it wasn't that shocking. Yeah. You know, like I said, I mean, we were here 2 years ago opening for the Garden. So it's been like this slow, steady like growth as a band. Was
it ever frustrating at you, like at times when you're like, God, I just wish we could headline or break through a little more, or were you just kind of like down for the ride?
Of course, there's always times, like specifically when you're putting maybe an album out. Yeah. There's a part of you that, as much as you like, are like trying to be like, okay, no expectation. Like, of course, everyone wants their album to like be the one that puts them over, you know. And funnily enough, the only time I feel like that ever really happened was with Wolf Girl. Yeah. Everything else has been like the albums are always like have a slow start, and then later on people are like, that's like the best album ever, you know.
And yeah, I was gonna like 10 years, right, for a Wolf Girl.
Yeah. It's
How
crazy.
do you think that is like? I mean, obviously, it totally, you know, it's usually the one people like listen to when they're like Machine Girl.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it now, looking back?
I mean, I'm really proud of making that record when I
Yeah.
did. Like, it was something I made just like living at my parents' house, finishing up school, and really was just like, I don't know. It was cool, but it wasn't something I was like, oh, this is gonna be it.
Yeah.
You know, I was just sort of like, I'm gonna make this like cool thing that I think would be cool.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful for like the fact that album is the reason that any of this has happened.
Did you ever have a moment when you're like, oh my god, I'm getting big now, see you guys?
I mean, like, I've had like little moments like that, you know. I mean, like, initially when Wolf Girl dropped and having like seeing it pop up on Red, like, it was the first time that any of my music was being like noticed by any sort of publication or online personalities or whatever, and that was very surreal. And then, like, I mean, definitely like the opportunity to open for 100 Gex was a moment where it was like, oh man, this is pretty big, you know, because I knew that tour was going to be huge, and it was. So that was, I mean, that was really cool, and but you know, I try really to not get caught up in the if you can even call it the celebrity fame of it, because it's still so like niche. I mean, like, even people that are really into my music don't even know what I look like, and I like that. Yeah, you know, anonymity. Or yes.
Yeah,
and that's something I definitely want to maintain.
Yeah. Do you have any fan or tour horror stories? Or anything like crazy that's happened to you on tour, whether it be this one or a past
maybe
one?
in the past, for sure. I feel like as I've gotten bigger and like bougier, like the less crazy shit happening. But like, I mean, early on, like, we've gotten shaken down by police in Mexico. That was pretty crazy, and had all our money stolen.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And
did you still perform?
Yeah, well, it was actually crazy because we got shaken down by the cops, and we had to drive to another city. We were in Tijuana. We were playing in Mexicali, and to get there, you have to drive through like a tolls on the highway. Yeah. And we were kind of freaking out because we had no money, and we also had no way of like getting more money immediately, and we were like really torn on like whether to cancel the show and go back into the US or like what to do. But we were like, screw it, let's just like drive and like try to see if we can talk to the toll people or something. Yeah. And as we were approaching the first toll on the highway, like all the people, there was like people dancing like on the highway, like around the toll and stuff. It was really surreal, and we were like, what is happening? And as we get closer, we realized that there was they were picketing, like there was like a strike, and it was actually a nationwide toll workers strike that day.
So you got lucky.
So we got very lucky, and every toll was free.
Oh, nice. So then you made it unscathed.
Unscathed.
Oh my god, that is really crazy.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Do you have any pre-show rituals that you do?
No, maybe I should have some, but it's basically just like stretch and then drink a Red Bull and then go out on stage, and that's about it.
And then you
I'll wet my hair, usually.
How is it like, because you scream a lot, like did that come naturally for you, or was it something you definitely had to train yourself for?
I had to train myself. I definitely had to train myself. I learned the hard way. I used to actually be capable of like even crazier like screams and stuff, but because early on I wasn't doing it right, I like shredded my vocal cords a little bit and lost some of the dynamic, unfortunately.
So the lesson is
Learn how to scream properly. Scream the right way.
yeah. Okay, that's all my prepared questions. So now I just have some random ones. They're gonna be quick, rapid fire. Say whatever comes to your head. These are just things the people want to know, and I'm here to facilitate that. What is your favorite anime or movie?
Well, I want to answer anime.
Okay.
That's really it's a toss up between a couple. I mean, they're boring answers. Like, I mean, for me, it's like Ghost in the Shell, Ninja Scroll, Akira.
I saw that movie for the first time, and I had to watch it like twice because like the first time you don't get the whole plot.
Yeah, it's weird.
It is really weird.
But I love it. I mean, the animation is incredible. And then pretty much anything by Satoshi Kon. I love Satoshi Kon's work, like Paprika, Perfect Blue, Paranoia Agent. All that stuff is top notch for me, and Evangelion, obviously.
Nice. So if you could collab with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Andre 3000.
And why?
Because he's Andre 3000.
Yeah, true. Nothing more needs to be said. Who do you think would win in a fight, Dracula or a werewolf?
Werewolf.
Why werewolf?
Because they're wolves and they're.
But Dracula can like fly. I feel like, right? I feel like Dracula can fly.
Yeah, but then if he flies away, then he's forfeiting.
So then werewolf wins by default.
Exactly.
Got it. Do you have a favorite Muppet?
I feel like either Gonzo's like the one with like the
blue guy.
The blue guy.
Yes.
Like, I'm gonna say Gonzo or the little rat that's like friends with Gonzo.
Oh yes. He has a name, but I don't know his name. I do know him. Do you game? Are you PC, console?
More console than computer.
Are you PlayStation or Xbox warrior? Or neither?
Nintendo.
Special third option. Agree. Last question. What is the first thing you're gonna do when tour is over?
Sleep.
Sleep.
Yeah.
Just go home and sleep.
Yeah.
That's
usually what it is.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's all the questions I had.
Great.
Thank you so much for spending the time to sit down.
Of course.
Last thing I'm gonna ask is at KALX we do these things called legal IDs, and we play them over the air at the top of the hour, and it's just like
you're listening to blah blah blah.
Yeah.
This is Machine Girl.
Yeah.
All right. This is Matt from Machine Girl. You are listening to KALX Berkeley.